in 2010, and we just never go see movies, so it took us a long time to see stuff. Movies are really expensive here to go see in the movie theater. We're actually going to be going to see one later this evening, but it's a big ordeal. My daughter had to read 1 million books to qualify for it, and we're making it this huge family outing, and it's really certainly only something that we maybe do once a year. Beyond that, I'm usually the only one that goes and sees anything, and the only thing I've ever gone to see here were Harry Potter movies. So we don't really go, which is weird because I'm so used to going to every single movie when I lived in the States. But here it's expensive, and when you have a big family and you have kids and you worry if they're going to cry and everybody wants popcorn, it just really becomes literally $100 or more to go see a movie. So we kind of save it for when it's a big occasion. But then when it comes to rentals, there are lots of rental services and things, and of course we can use iTunes and all that stuff too even, but we just aren't real big on renting lots of movies very often. So, and when we do, we wind up getting them when they're really super cheap, and that means that they're kind of old. So we don't see something that's just recently available on DVD. We usually get things that were out on DVD a couple seasons ago so that it's cheaper. And in summer vacation, there's a lot of days like that. The rental places will have days where you can rent a movie for 80 yen or 100 yen, which is, about $1, depending on what you want to say the yen rate is. But so we finally went and rented a bunch of movies, and one of the ones that we got was The Secret World of Arrietty, and it's the new movie that's been released by Studio Ghibli, and they always have such beautiful, wonderful movies. And Miyazaki didn't direct this one. He wrote it, but he didn't direct it. And it's based on a book. I have the note here. It's by Mary Norton. It's called The Borrowers. So it's as with a lot of their works, they're usually based on other stories that he finds or they find in the studio to find that they want to convert into a movie. And this movie was beautiful. I would say probably one of my favorites that I've seen of Studio Ghibli. And I think everybody has their different favorites. I mean, I'm always going to love Totoro. That's definitely something that's going to be kind of hard to beat, but this is really good. And, the story is really probably not that unique. It's about little miniature people that live under your house and, secretly now and again will borrow a cube of sugar or something like that. And their policies that if they get seen by a human, then they have to leave. They have to move. And so it's a story about one of the little girl that's little and her relationship that she forms with our size little boy. So it was a really good movie, but the story's not, so super unique. It's just, oh no, somebody saw them, oh, they have to move. What can they do to make sure that they move safely? That's about the extent of it. But just everything, the details, the drawings, the leaves, everything is just beautiful and real mesmerizing, and just really kind of makes you just surrounded with this beautiful experience. So it was definitely something that I loved getting a chance to see. And I think it was released just this year in February in the States, and also released separately in England. But definitely a really good movie. So if you get a chance to see it, it probably almost pretty soon here is going to be available for on DVD, I would imagine. So you might be able to rent it even in the States now. But definitely a really good movie, a lot of fun to see. And if you want to watch the Japanese one, I think they tend to be a little better when they're in Japanese. I don't know. I have a hard time choosing sometimes. I loved Howl's Castle in English better than in Japanese. I thought the girl who voiced the main character, was so good, and it was just really fun to listen to her talk. But, I think it depends on your preferences, and if you know the people who are voice actors. Sometimes, I know in the States it's always these famous people who do the voice acting, and that's supposed to be the gimmick of it all. But as you might know, if you're a fan of anime in Japan, the people who do voice acting are specifically voice actors. You sometimes see the famous people doing the voice acting, but that's usually when they flip around and then do the voiceover for an American movie, like a Disney movie or a Pixar movie, the people that do the voices for that are typically, you know, famous, well-known actors in Japan, and they kind of follow that pattern that we do in the States, which I think is kind of interesting. Whereas, you know, more popular anime and manga that gets turned into anime and stuff, it's almost always, you know, voice actors that are well known as being voice actors that do these things. So it's a little different in that sense, but yeah, it was really good. And the Japanese title is Karigurashi no Arrietty. So if you're interested in watching it in Japanese too, if you're studying Japanese, it's a really great way to always learn, is to watch some good fun movies. So definitely a good recommendation.